The videos are not coming out as fast as I would like because I am working on a big project that will provide Total War fans with a bird's eye view of Creative Assembly's handling of their Total War YouTube creator program. The project I am working on will encompass the facts and circumstances surrounding Creative Assembly's decisions to add or remove YouTubers from the program. This project places a particular emphasis on Creative Assembly's treatment of the YouTubers in the program. As you can imagine, this spans nearly, if not over, a decade of reprehensible business practices, and it involves a lot of former employees, YouTubers, and context. With all the information I am gathering, this project will take some time. But once I have compiled all the information, it should provide all of the material anyone will ever need about Total War. In the interim, I am taking this opportunity to discuss recent developments because Creative Assembly has dropped the ball again, and I will continue to monitor recent developments so that I still have a pulse on what's going on so I can inform everyone of what I see. So, the focus of this video will cover the updates Creative Assembly promised in response to the forum backlash, wherein they told their customers that purchasing the game did not entitle them to discuss the game. While this video is not specifically tied to the project I am working on, it is relevant to Creative Assembly's overall behavior and makes the case that you can never trust Creative Assembly and that you should continue to boycott their games. In October of 2023, Creative Assembly addressed the issues it had with the player base's criticism of Total War and Shadows of Change, which resulted in a thread titled Steam Moderation Guidelines and Maintaining Healthy Discussions. In this thread, a Creative Assembly employee and representative told the community that the right to discuss was a privilege, not an entitlement a player earned by playing the game. The post was about providing quote-unquote constructive feedback, and that negative feedback provided by the community was not constructive and was just troublesome. But the comments in response were not very happy with this characterization, and they pointed out that the player base provided constructive criticism for years, but that Creative Assembly simply ignored it. One person, by the name of Lamp, wrote, "With every rant I gave about features I felt they botched, I used to offer ideas and solutions, until it became clear after almost a year that CA wasn't listening at all. At first, I was even enthusiastic. Surely they'll put in a ton of work into this, right? I thought, naively believing that there'd be a good amount of resources allocated to doing so. Sieges went from the worst in Total War history to the worstest over the course of Warhammer 1 through 3. And throughout all of those years, there were plenty of people, myself included, giving feedback about how to improve sieges. Here's some off the top of my head. Ropes instead of ladders, or build the ladders and actually carry them. Some people were suggesting things like climbers and ethereal units going through walls. These are great ideas. Map functionality over aesthetics, or at least balanced with a priority on being able to move properly and utilize artillery. Fully destructible walls, plus walls back in minor settlements for Warhammer 3. Whether, not just for sieges, deployment in deployment phase only, or have the vanilla option to turn off/modify the supply system/plaza system. Modular cities, or at least some kind of variance instead of fighting the same identical cities all around the map 50 times per game. It's feedback like this that was taken by management aliens as they no like siege. Then they turned vanilla sieges into the tower defense abomination they are now. And when given this feedback, again with the Warhammer 3 stuff, they removed walls from minor settlements. Another user, by the name Annie Aaron, wrote, "The gall. You'll permit only constructive criticism? Really? Do you want to maybe walk that back a bit, or perhaps clarify? The community has supplied CA with endless constructive criticism, and suggests only to be flatly ignored. But hey, might as well try one more time. Your company needs to start treating its fan base with a modicum of respect, and with proper decorum. Your response in this thread, and your executives' responses to the community agitation, are piss-poor customer service and demonstrate an absolute lack of consideration or basic appreciation for the people who made your game successful. Communicate with the community more clearly. Set out reasonable expectations. Respond in some time sooner than several months after an issue hits critical mass, and demonstrate that you have actual appreciation for the fans and modders who make the shit show that was the initial release at least tolerable. Quashing unconstructive criticism actively antagonizes your user base, who already feel unheard and disrespected. People need a place to vent, and when they've been treated poorly by the people controlling something, you've all treated the community like shit. repeatedly and consistently since Warhammer 3 came out. Every time I think you guys can't make things worse, you find a way to do so. And, just to be clear, no other company would have been given the grace this community provided you and how long it took you to resolve something as serious as Nakai bug. The community deserves better in return for their patience and goodwill. Here's your constructive criticism at its core. Do better. I could go on, but I do not want to belabor the point. It is clear that Creative Assembly was aware that the issues extended far beyond simply adding more content. History doesn't repeat, but it surely rhymes. Mark Twain. Before we go further, TotalWar and Creative Assembly have a history of making promises and failing to deliver. Back in 2013, Mike Simpson issued an apology due to the horrible launch of TotalWar Rome 2. While I cannot locate the original apology, I was provided a link to a Reddit post providing a copy of the apology Mike Simpson released addressing the Rome 2 issues. Hi everyone, and thanks for your attention. We just wanted to reassure you that we do know it's an extremely annoying and frustrating time for some of you at the moment, and we are working around the clock to sort out those issues that you are having. The first patch has just gone up. It's not trouble-free, we know, and we are fixing with a hotfix. But there will be another next week, and every week after that, till the problems are gone. At the moment, it may seem that the changes are slight, but they aren't the only ones we are working on currently, and bigger changes are happening now for future patches. If you are having a problem, it is totally unacceptable and a big deal for us. Please know that we are spending all our dev effort on fixing outstanding issues. I realize in our rush to do that, we haven't updated you on the situation, so if you are interested, please read on. First and foremost, let me say that if even one person has a problem running the game, we would want to fix it. This is why we've set up 24-hour support, and if you post in the support forums, you will get an answer or discover a solution that's already posted for your issue. I appreciate that it doesn't help to know this if you are somebody having an issue, but the vast majority of people are running the game without problems. At the moment, we are seeing 2% of people playing reporting a technical issue. Let me be clear. That is 2% too many, and we will be helping them in the game and working very hard to make sure they get the best possible experience. To these people, we are really very sorry that you are having problems. We really want to get you enjoying our game. Please do take the time to post your issue in the support forum if there isn't a fix for you available in there already. Rome 2 is a big and complex game, and, especially on PC, we are always conscious of the wide variety of different combinations of hardware out there, and, while we do test extensively before launch, it is clear that we have failed some of you, and we will look at the way in which launch games in the future. Again, I know this is scant comfort to you if you have a setup that is not performing well, but we do intend to fix your specific problem, whoever you are and whatever it is, as soon as we can. Many issues have been alleviated by the workarounds and system tweaks posted about in the support forum. Please do head to this thread as your first port of call. If your issue is not solved by stepping through these solutions, please do post your issue in the support forum and one of the team will get back to you. If you have any concerns on the actual features and mechanics, like gameplay balancing and AI behavior, we do want to hear about them. As mentioned before launch, we absolutely intend to support Rome 2 post-release with plenty of content, further development, and comprehensive balancing throughout. And no, I'm not thinking of DLC you have to pay for. We have already planned for some very interesting stuff, and we wanted to do that with advice from the community. Please do keep posting your concerns. Our code team are focusing on tech issues to get people playing, but our design teams are very aware of your concerns and are already looking at ways to add further options and rebalance aspects of the game. You will see our community team dropping into threads to ask questions. Please do chat with them. But even if you don't see a response, please know that we look at forums every day here and do appreciate what you have to say. Thank you for reading, Mike Simpson. Wow. Sometimes the way these people type is just clearly not double-checked because it really sounds incoherent when you try to read it out loud. And it's really difficult to record because then you sound awkward. Despite the sweaty, exasperated tone of Mike's post, very little was done to actually correct the issues. Year after year, the game continued to have issues, as illustrated by this game footage.
Look, oh my god, the middle, nothing is happening.
Jonas, nee, fucking tell me you're seeing this.
It's like I've paused. There's nothing happening. It's like we've paused. See, are you looking at this?
Yeah, I'm
Tell me
looking
you're
at it.
looking. Tell me you're. There's literally nothing happening.
Look at that blob, holy crap. Looks absolutely ridiculous.
Still, at least back in 2013, they felt the need to pretend to care to fix these mistakes. Now, they simply issue non-apologies. Also, just as a quick director's cut comment, this whole Total War is a complex ship to steer, and we're going to give you free updates to correct these issues, seems to be a common thing, or common go-to failsafe that Creative Assembly employs whenever it fucks up massively. I'm not sure if you all remember, but I'll probably post it on the screen. These are the same things Creative Assembly was saying on December 14th, 2023. As a reminder, on December 14th, 2023, after the Total War Steam 4 meltdown, the quote-unquote leadership at Total War released a blog post as a form of damage control. The community was outraged. The DLC was extremely overpriced, but had plenty of bugs and provided very little content. To put things into perspective, the Shadows of Change DLC is nearly half the price of Warhammer III. As a part of Creative Assembly's damage control, they stated they would provide a major update to Shadows of Change for free, and that it would be part of the package for everyone that purchased the DLC in the future. They also stated that Total War was a big and complex ship that was difficult to navigate. They framed this as if they were doing the player base a favor, but that is just a slap in the face. Here are some of the things they've added to Shadows of Change since this blog post. 3 legendary lords, alleged unique gameplay mechanics for each legendary lord, 3 legendary heroes, 1 per race, 3 heroes, 1 per race, 5 units per race, 3 regiments of renown per race, 1 free LC character, and some nip-slip about potential future content. However, this blog post and the subsequent material released by Creative Assembly was nothing more than an exercise in making people feel more comfortable about the money they spent on the DLC, not about delivering a good product. This is much more obvious when we look at the most recent quote-unquote positive reviews on Steam. The majority of these reviews are positive, but only because more content was added, and the players felt like Creative Assembly listened to them. However, it is clear that Creative Assembly did not listen to the player base. Although, I will admit, it is hard to figure out what the player base actually wants when you ban everyone who voices legitimate criticism of the game and the issues it has. Some of the positive reviews are also not positively written. Some users are happy there is more content, but dissatisfied with the new content that Creative Assembly provided because of the copy and paste nature of the characters and their mechanics. Really, the quote-unquote positive reviews are unmotivating, not substantive, and do not inspire anyone to purchase the DLC. The quote-unquote negative reviews, on the other hand, are much more telling. One user is upset that Creative Assembly did not address issues that have plagued the game since launch. Other users still do not feel the DLC is worth the price, even after Creative Assembly provided additional content. This is what one user said in their review. Does this DLC, 1, add to the strategic or tactical elements of this game? No. Add to the strategic depth of the factions? No. Balance the game? No. Change the play style of each faction? Slightly. Add more units with interesting animations and modeling? Yes. Add more magic with powerful effects? Yes. If you want depth and strategy, ignore this DLC, or hell, ignore this whole game. If you want units which you enjoy on the tabletop, or just like having a complete roster, then it's your choice. So, after spending $85 on this content, does it feel worth it? None of the reviews, whether positive or negative, inspire any confidence that Creative Assembly will change. The player base continues to receive more of the same, reskin after reskin, from game to game. You bought the game for $60, then you purchased a $25 DLC only to have mechanics taken from factions like High Elves and given to new legendary lords like Yuan Bo. You were sold the same content twice, and they think this is perfectly acceptable and act like they are doing you a favor by adding it for free when you voiced your frustration. As history has shown, you cannot trust Creative Assembly. and this goes all the way back 2013 and before that. It is about maximizing revenue, not delivering a good product. The only way to make them change is to tie their revenue to the quality of their products. If it is bad, it does not sell. If it is good, it sells. Right now, the game is not good and has been declining for years, despite the prices steadily increasing. Do not give in as soon as they give you a crumb while promising you the entire cookie. The community should boycott the game until the entire franchise is overhauled for the better.